Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into the world of coding education
Okay.
and tackling, I guess, the age-old question,
Yeah.
is memorizing code like the be-all and end-all of becoming a programmer?
Right.
Our source material is an article from AlgoCademy,
Okay.
which is a pretty popular online coding platform.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, they've got some strong opinions about this.
They do.
So if you're new to coding, this might change your whole approach to learning.
Yeah, it really could.
So let's jump right in. I totally get the appeal of memorization. Like, you see a code snippet that does something cool,
Right.
you commit it to memory, and bam, you can just reuse it.
Exactly.
There.
Especially if you're coming from like a traditional learning background
Yeah,
where, you had to memorize a bunch of stuff for tests.
yeah,
But the catch is programming is less about, just like spitting out facts
Yeah.
and more about understanding those concepts and applying them to new situations.
right. And the AlgoCademy article makes this point with an interesting analogy. They say that memorizing code without understanding it
Okay.
is like trying to build a house
Uh-huh.
by just copying the blueprints without knowing anything about architecture or construction.
Exactly. You might end up with something that looks like a house,
Right.
but it's going to fall apart at the first, sign of trouble.
Yeah.
And in programming, that trouble comes in the form of new challenges or those unexpected bugs.
Oh, yeah.
Or, when you need to adapt your code to work with different technologies.
So memorizing code might give you that initial sense of, oh, I did it.
Right.
But it's not going to give you the tools you need to actually be a good programmer.
Yeah. And it can lead to imposter syndrome, too.
Oh, really?
The article tells the story about a programmer who, even though they had memorized tons of code, they felt completely lost when they had a problem that needed, out-of-the-box thinking.
Right.
They had all the pieces, but they didn't know how to put them together.
Yeah, it's like learning a recipe by heart without knowing the basics of cooking. You might be able to follow the instructions perfectly,
Yeah.
but if one ingredient's missing or you need to adjust the recipe,
Yeah.
you're going to be lost.
Totally. And the tech world is constantly adding new ingredients to the mix.
Right.
New languages, new frameworks, new technologies all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
If you're just relying on memorized code, you're always playing catch up.
Right.
You're going to feel like you're not good enough.
Okay, so what's the alternative?
Yeah.
AlgoCademy talks about this idea of algorithmic thinking.
Yes.
What does that even mean? And how is it different from memorization?
Well, algorithmic thinking is about developing a mental framework
Uh-huh.
for breaking problems down into smaller steps
Okay.
and then figuring out the most efficient way to solve them.
So it's about the logic, the strategy, the why behind the code,
Exactly.
not just the what.
Exactly. It's like learning to play chess. You don't memorize every possible move.
Right.
You learn the rules, you learn the strategies, the ways the pieces interact, and that lets you adapt to whatever your opponent does.
And AlgoCademy puts this into practice with their interactive tutorials.
They do.
They actually guide you through the problem solving
Right.
rather than just giving you ready-made solutions to memorize.
Exactly. They encourage you to experiment, even to make mistakes.
Really?
It's all about learning by doing and figuring things out on your own.
And they even use AI to make the learning personalized.
Yeah, that's a game changer.
Right, tailoring it to your pace and style.
It's like having a personal tutor who knows exactly what you're struggling with and adjusts the lesson.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So they're not just force-feeding you information.
Right.
They're making a custom learning journey.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what skills does AlgoCademy think are really valuable for aspiring programmers?
Well, they emphasize understanding the core programming concepts
Okay.
that apply across different languages, like the building blocks of coding.
So it's like learning the grammar of coding, so to speak.
Yeah. Exactly. Once you understand the concepts, you can pick up any new language much more easily.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So they also talk about consistent practice as being key.
Yes.
And they actually have a structured way to do this on their platform.
Right.
So it's not just aimless practice.
No, it's strategic.
It's about working on problems designed to help you internalize the core concepts and build your skills.
Exactly.
And here's something I think people don't always think about.
Yeah.
Learning to read and understand other people's code.
Yes. That's so important.
AlgoCademy stresses this a lot.
And for good reason.
I can see why.
Yeah. In the real world, you're rarely coding alone.
Yeah.
Being able to understand someone else's code is crucial for collaboration.
Right.
And it opens up this whole world of understanding different approaches and problem-solving techniques.
It's like appreciating different writing styles.
Exactly.
Or different musical genres.
It broadens your horizons,
Yeah.
makes you a more well-rounded programmer.
Okay, so then there's debugging, which every programmer has to deal with.
Right.
AlgoCademy really wants you to be a debugging master.
Debugging is like being a detective.
Okay.
It's not just about fixing errors.
Uh-huh.
It's about understanding why they happened in the first place,
Okay.
which helps you understand how code works at a much deeper level.
So it's like figuring out why your cake didn't rise.
Right.
Instead of just chucking it in the trash and starting over.
Exactly.
You learn from your mistakes and you become a better baker,
Yes.
or in this case, a better programmer.
Exactly.
Ultimately, AlgoCademy wants you to see coding as an adventure,
Yes.
a problem-solving adventure, not this like memorization chore.
It's about using your creativity to build things, solve challenges, and constantly grow.
So while memorization can be tempting, it's not about never remembering anything right.
Of course not.
Some things become ingrained in your memory just through practice.
Yes, like syntax, for example. As you write more code, certain elements just become automatic.
You're not trying to memorize them. They just become second nature.
Exactly.
It's like learning to type.
Exactly.
You don't think about where each letter is anymore.
Nope. Your fingers just know.
And experienced programmers remember common design patterns and best practices.
Yes. But again, it's not about rote memorization. It's
Right.
about understanding those patterns so well
Right.
that they become part of your coding intuition.
It's like recognizing a chord progression in a song.
Exactly.
Even if you've never heard that specific song before,
You get it?
you understand the underlying structure, and that makes you appreciate the music more deeply.
Exactly.
And recognizing algorithm patterns is the same way.
It comes with experience.
It's about developing a sense for which algorithms work best for certain problems.
Exactly.
So it's not about memorizing every single algorithm.
No.
It's about having a mental toolbox and knowing which tool to use.
I like that. A mental toolbox.
Right. Okay, so AlgoCademy also offers tips for learning that go beyond just coding. And they really emphasize working on projects that excite you.
Makes sense. Well,
When you're passionate about what you're building, learning is fun.
absolutely. And they encourage collaboration, working with others
Oh, that's interesting.
to learn from different approaches.
It's like brainstorming with friends.
Yes. Everyone brings their own ideas.
Yeah.
You learn so much from each other.
And they even recommend teaching what you've learned to someone else.
Yes.
Which is a great way to make sure you understand it yourself.
Because when you have to explain it to someone else, you have to really think about it.
Right. Break it down.
Exactly.
They also recommend something called spaced repetition,
Yes.
which is reviewing concepts at increasing intervals.
To help you remember long term.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like revisiting a favorite book or movie.
Exactly. Each time you do, you pick up on new things.
And lastly, they talk about embracing your mistakes,
Yes. So important.
which is a great life lesson in general.
And
Mistakes are going to happen. It's how we learn and grow.
exactly. And they even use gamification to make learning fun
Oh, wow.
and encourage you to see mistakes as opportunities, not failures.
It's about creating that safe space to experiment and learn from your missteps.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit and talk about how AlgoCademy prepares people for those tough job interviews.
Okay.
The ones at, Google, Facebook, Amazon, all those big companies.
The FAAN company.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It seems like they have a specific approach that really aligns with this whole understanding over memorizing thing.
I do.
So it all starts with building that solid foundation
Right.
of those core concepts we talked about earlier.
The building blocks.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And then they move on to problem solving.
Yes.
They give you harder and harder problems to tackle.
It's like training for a mental marathon.
Right. And then they dive into data structures and algorithms, which are super important for coding interviews.
Yes.
But the focus is still on understanding why they work and how to use them.
Right. Not just memorizing them.
Not just memorizing. So it's about seeing them as tools in your toolbox,
Exactly.
each one with its own purpose.
Yeah.
And of course, practice is key.
Always.
They provide tons of coding challenges to help you get comfortable with all of this.
It's like sparring with different opponents in martial arts.
I like
The
that.
more you practice, the better you get at handling different situations.
And they also teach you about something called time and space complexity.
Yes.
What does that even mean?
So time complexity is about how long it takes for your code to run.
Okay.
And space complexity is about how much memory it uses.
So it's about writing code that's not only correct,
Right.
but also efficient.
Exactly. It's like finding the most scenic route to your destination.
Okay.
That's also the shortest and uses the least amount of gas.
I like that. And to top it all off, they even offer mock interviews
Yes.
to simulate the real deal.
To help you practice.
So you can practice your problem solving
Yeah.
and articulate your thought process.
And get comfortable with that pressure.
All right, so all of this points to a bigger trend in coding education,
Uh-huh.
which is the growing role of AI.
It's fascinating.
It's not just about humans teaching humans anymore.
No, it's not.
AI is becoming a core part of how we learn.
It's an exciting
It's
time.
pretty mind-blowing, actually.
It is.
AI can personalize learning paths,
Yeah.
provide instant feedback, even create unique coding problems
Exactly.
Yeah.
to challenge you at just the right level.
It's like having a personal coding assistant.
So instead of relying on memorized solutions,
Right.
you have these AI tools that can analyze your code in real time, point out your errors, and help you understand the concepts better.
And some platforms even let you describe solutions in plain English,
Really?
which the AI can then turn into code.
That's amazing.
It is.
It's like talking to the computer and telling it what you want it to do,
And it does it.
and it just writes the code for you.
It's incredible.
It's pretty incredible.
It is.
And it really highlights how important it is to understand the logic, the concepts behind coding.
Not just the syntax.
Right, because AI can take care of that.
It can.
But it's up to us humans to bring the creativity and problem solving.
Absolutely.
So this leads us to the future of coding education.
Yeah.
Which seems like it's going to be even more personalized,
Yes,
even more interactive,
Definitely.
and with even more AI.
More and more AI.
Imagine learning to code in virtual reality
Wow. Yeah.
or having AI tutors that adapt to your learning style.
It's a very exciting time
It is.
to be learning to code.
We'll take a quick break to absorb all of this incredible information and join us when we come back in part 2, where we'll continue exploring this exciting world of coding education
Sounds good.
and its impact on the future of work.
Great.
See you soon.
See you then.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Before the break, we were really getting into how AI is changing the way we learn to code.
It really is amazing.
It's incredible to see these advancements right in front of us.
What I find fascinating is how these advancements show that coding mastery is about understanding, not memorization.
Yeah.
AI can do all the, rote tasks,
Uh-huh.
the syntax, the repetitive stuff.
Right?
But it takes a human mind to bring that creativity and problem solving to the table.
And to be able to think outside the box,
Right.
to come up with those ingenious solutions.
Exactly.
So AlgoCademy seems to be leading the way here,
I think so.
using AI to make learning more efficient,
Right.
more personalized, more engaging.
It's not just about sitting there and absorbing information anymore. It's
Right.
about actively doing something
Yeah.
and being a part of the learning process.
And they're really taking this learning by doing idea to a whole new level.
Yeah, they are.
Because when you're actively involved, when you're experimenting, making mistakes, figuring things out on your own,
Right.
the knowledge really sticks with you.
It does.
It's like the difference between reading about how to ride a bike
Okay.
and actually getting on a bike and trying to ride it.
I like that.
You can memorize every step, but until you feel that balance, the momentum, the thrill of actually riding,
Right.
you don't really understand.
You don't really get it.
That's a good analogy.
It is.
And that's what AlgoCademy and other platforms are trying to do.
I think so.
They're creating these virtual environments
Right.
where you can actually ride the bike, so
Yeah.
to speak,
Right.
where you experience coding firsthand.
You get to build something from scratch
Yeah.
and feel that satisfaction of solving a tricky problem.
What I find interesting is that this shift toward understanding over memorizing
Yeah.
isn't just happening with coding.
Yep, that's
It's happening in all sorts of fields.
Across the board.
Yeah, we're moving away from just rote learning
Yeah.
and standardized tests
Yeah.
and towards a more personalized, experiential, and even interdisciplinary approach.
I think it's a good thing.
Because it's about building those critical thinking skills,
Right.
that creativity, the problem-solving abilities.
Being able to adapt to new situations.
Yeah, being adaptable is huge. It is, especially in today's world,
Right.
because the world is changing so quickly.
Faster than ever.
The jobs of tomorrow might not even exist today.
Exactly. So it's
Yeah.
not about teaching specific facts or skills anymore.
Right.
It's about giving people the tools and the mindset to be lifelong learners, to be flexible.
Yeah, to be able to thrive in a world that's constantly changing.
Absolutely.
And that's where coding comes in.
It does.
Because learning to code isn't just about a technical skill.
Right.
It's about a new way of thinking,
Yeah.
a way of approaching problems.
Breaking things down.
Yeah, breaking down complex tasks into smaller, more manageable steps.
It's a valuable skill.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's about seeing the world through this lens of computational thinking,
Okay.
which is becoming more and more important in every aspect of our lives.
Thank you.
From how we work to how we communicate to how we solve problems.
Absolutely.
And it's about giving people the power to create technology.
Yeah.
not just consume it.
Not just be
No.
passive users.
To be able to understand how it works, shape it, build the future they want to see.
Exactly.
That brings us to another point AlgoCademy brought up,
Okay.
that even though coding is this very technical field,
Right.
soft skills are still super important,
Yes, they are.
like communication, collaboration, teamwork, all that stuff.
You can't forget about those.
It's a good reminder that coding is rarely a solo thing.
That's true.
It's about working with others, sharing ideas, solving problems together, building something bigger than yourself.
And those soft skills are only going to become more important
Right.
as AI takes over those routine coding tasks.
Yeah. Frees up human coders
Right.
to focus on the things AI can't do. That
Exactly.
creative, problem-solving thinking outside the box.
And communicating those complex ideas in ways that people understand.
So it's like this partnership,
A collaboration.
this dance between human intelligence and artificial intelligence.
I like that, a dance.
Each one playing its part to push the boundaries of what's possible.
AI brings the efficiency and automation. And humans bring that ingenuity and empathy and vision.
So this evolution in coding education,
Yeah.
how it's impacting the future of work.
It's really something.
It's fascinating, and we're going to continue exploring this in part 3, where we'll dive into the wider implications of this evolving coding landscape
Sounds good.
on all aspects of our lives.
Looking forward to it.
Welcome back to the deep dive. So, in this final part, let's zoom out a little bit and look at the bigger picture here.
Okay.
How is this whole evolving landscape of coding education going to impact things like
Yeah.
industries, economies,
Yeah.
maybe even just the way we approach problems in general?
It's pretty mind-boggling when you think about it.
It is.
This democratization of coding skills that we're seeing,
Yeah?
driven by these platforms like AlgoCademy and all the advancements in AI,
Right.
it's going to have a huge impact on the workforce.
I think so, too.
The jobs of the future are going to look different from the jobs we see today.
Yeah, we're already seeing this massive demand
Yeah.
for coders, data scientists, cybersecurity experts, and all these tech-related roles.
Absolutely. And it's not just about filling those specific tech jobs either.
Right.
Coding skills are becoming more and more valuable in pretty much every industry you can think of.
It's true.
Healthcare, finance, education, entertainment,
It's everywhere.
you name it.
Yeah.
Being able to think computationally, to break down problems, to analyze data, to automate tasks.
It's like coding is becoming this new kind of literacy.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a fundamental skill for the 21st century.
It's like reading, writing, and arithmetic were in the past.
Exactly. And what's really cool is that it's opening up all these opportunities
Yeah.
for people who might not have had them before.
That's a good
It
point.
doesn't matter what your background is or your prior experience.
Right.
Anyone can learn to code now.
And they can either, go for a career in tech
Yeah,
or just use those skills to get ahead in their current career.
absolutely. And it's not just about, climbing the career ladder. Right.
Learning to code can be really rewarding just for yourself.
Yeah.
There's something so satisfying about creating something from scratch,
Yeah.
solving a tough problem, bringing an idea to life through code.
It's about empowering people to be creators,
Right.
to really understand how this digital world works,
Yeah.
and to shape it,
To have control.
to build the future they want to see.
Exactly.
And, speaking of new worlds,
Yeah.
we've talked a lot about the technical side of coding, but AlgoCademy makes a point of emphasizing those soft skills too.
Yes, they do.
Even in a field that can seem so technical.
Right.
Communication, collaboration, teamwork are all still essential.
It's a good reminder that, coding is rarely a solo thing.
Yeah, you're not just sitting in a dark room by yourself typing away.
Right. It's about working with other people, sharing ideas, solving problems together.
It's a team effort.
It is.
And as AI takes on more of those, routine tasks,
Right.
human coders are going to have even more time to focus on what AI can't do.
Things like creative problem-solving thinking outside the box.
Communicating those complex ideas in a way that people understand.
So it's this beautiful kind of synergy
The partnership.
between human intelligence and artificial intelligence.
That's a good way to put it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive
Okay.
into the world of coding education, I think the key takeaway is this.
Yeah.
Learning to code is not just for like a select few anymore.
No, it's not.
It's an essential skill for everyone in the 21st century.
It really is.
And it's giving people new opportunities, empowering them to shape the future.
And the best part is it's never been easier to learn.
That's true.
With all these platforms like AlgoCademy and the amazing resources online, anyone can do it.
Anyone can learn to code.
So if you're a student, a professional looking to upskill, or just curious about tech,
Yeah.
there's a place for you in this exciting field.
And remember, it's not about just memorizing lines of code.
No, it's not.
It's about understanding the ideas behind them
The concepts, the logic.
and having fun while you're doing it.
Exactly.
So that's all for this deep dive into coding education.
Great.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep coding.
See you next time.